Wow. So we had a dream about peace. Maybe we should wake up and make it a reality. What do you think? Yeah. How many of you are familiar with John Denver? Well, I figured that I was watching when Rita was saying, let's do this song that I had not remembered. I was a different kind of 60s guy. So I was right on the cusp of, I'm going to say the word and you guys are going to get all freaked out, but disco. Disco. So before he sang that song that they just did wonderfully, he did a peace poem that he had written. And I thought I would share that with you because it has a lot of meaning and it really supports that song. So it goes like this. There's a name for war and killing. There's a name for giving in when you know another answer is possible. For me, that name is sin. But there's still time to turn around and make all hatred cease and give another name to living. And we could call it peace. And peace would be the road we walk, each step along the way. And peace would be the way we work. And peace would be the way we play. And in all we see that's different, and in all the things we know, peace would be the way we look, and peace would be the way we grow. There's a name for separation. There's a name for first and last, when it's all for us or nothing. For me, the name is past. But there's still time to turn it around and make all the hatred cease and give a name to all the future, and we could call it peace. And if peace is what we pray for and peace is what we give, then peace will be the way we are and peace the way we live. Yes, there is still time to turn it around and make all hatred cease and give another name to living, and we can call it peace. It's interesting that this is such a hard concept. My little child, when in meditation today, said, I don't understand. How can this be so difficult? Well, first of all, I think for me, I had to define what peace really is. It's a beautiful word that becomes almost Hallmark card now. We want peace, we want peace, we want peace. But what does that mean? That doesn't mean that we all are going to think the same, that we're all going to feel the same. It just means we're going to all respect each other the same. And what happens when people do those unthinkable things? Well, you take a thing that I'm learning to do, it's called a pause. And behind it all, whether or not I want to admit it or not, behind it all is this essence that we all have, that is absolute love. And we cannot escape that identity. But we were talking yesterday, we had a small little gathering for some of the practitioners in what we call our spiritual team that we hadn't really gotten together for a while. And we were talking about this thing called, I'm going to say it, change. The only way that we're ever going to have peace, in my humble opinion, well, forget the humble, in my opinion, is that we have to want peace more than we want to be right. We must, or as I put it, the need to change has to be stronger than the need to stay the same. We cannot expect anything, and that goes across the board. Finances, relationships, whatever it is, health. If we will not change the identity that we have called upon ourselves to have, how are we expected to have a new identity, which would be peace, which would be love, which would be health, vitality? Martin Luther King, he was a big one on change, was he not? I found this incredible wording. Does anyone know the wonderful speaker Simon Sinek, I believe it is? No, right? I know. Oh, Simon. But anyway, I was watching a video of his, and this is what he came up with about the idea of change, that it all starts, as they were saying, I think it was, well, within ourselves. Dr. King believed that there were two types of laws in the world. You like the word law? Dr. King believed there were two types of laws in the world: those that were made by a higher authority and those that were made by man, woman. And not until the laws that were made by man are consistent with the laws made by a higher authority will we ever live a just and peaceful world. It was interesting, they were talking about his march and them coming, 250,000 people showed up there, and they didn't have an internet, they didn't have websites, they didn't have all of that stuff. And what pulled them, right? 250,000 people just showed up. And we ask why? Why did they just show up? Because they didn't say, I got to go see Martin Luther King. He's really cool. We love. No, they went because they said, we believe in freedom. We believe in peace. We believe in it so much that we walk in peace even if they're hitting us. But I'm going to go there. And it wasn't to see, we went there for ourselves. We went there because we want to know that this world is a much better place than we have named it thus far. That this world is something to be lived and to be loved. So this talk today is about the sound of silence. Ooh, if you know me, you know I'm working on that one. Silence. What does that mean? There is a study at, I believe it is, at Johns Hopkins University. Surprisingly, this is the student that came up with this study. Surprisingly, what our work suggests is that nothing is also something that can be heard. Ooh. You mean you can hear in the nothingness, in the quantumness, you can hear. Ooh, it gives me so my question was, what lives in the silence? And what is its sound? We hear the fan, right? I was thinking of space. When you get past a certain, there's almost like a whong. Interestingly enough, this week we remembered that day, 9/11. When we experienced that horrendous moment in time that I believe shifted consciousness, that we're still now trying to make up for and find love again. But I remember being in Pasadena, California, and I said to Rita, there's something different in our atmosphere. There's a silence, almost a deafening silence. And that was because there was no planes in our entire world going up. And you could hear something. But we're so used to what? Yap, 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 yap. Yap. We're hearing all of these sound bites. And we're not taking a moment, at least I'm not we in us, but I us, that I'm not taking the time to listen in the silence. In the Peaceful Warrior, the movie, he says, there's never nothing going on. There are no ordinary moments. So what's in that silence? What can I learn? When I was a kid, I always have to do a little kid stuff. When I was a kid, I realized this morning too. The silence frightened me. Silence frightened me. What could be in the silence? What could be in that darkness? What could be happening? Any moment something could happen, right? Now as I have grown up, or at least attempted to grow up, I have realized that I go to silence now for answers. When I'm confused, I take a moment to go into silence. That's what meditation is for, right? And can you ever really, truly, truly allow yourself to hear nothing? What lives in the silence? Another little experiment. Rita will have a moment where we'll be quiet in the car or quiet in the bed. And I'll go, "What are you thinking about?" And she'll go, "What do you mean?" I said, "Oh, your thoughts are so loud." And I mean that. There's a vibrational feeling that we're feeling when other people are, right now, right? We're all like tuning in. What a gift. What a gift. Is peace possible? It has to be. But I will quote a great mystic. You probably don't know him, Glenn Head. And he's Glenn Head. Rita brought it up last week, and I know why we don't have peace, why war has not ended yet. Aren't you thrilled to come here today to find this out? Why? Because we have not ended the war within ourselves. I'm sorry, but there's still time to change. There's still time to change. How, I was saying this, can you imagine two ministers living in the same place, her and I'm just like, I just had this idea, this opportunity that we have to end the war within. Now, I'll only speak for myself. I don't know, I used to say some of the things I've said about myself, I could be arrested for. And that's the thing that doesn't have to be sombering. It has to be, what? Knock it off. Knock it off. How am I expecting that war to stop when I haven't stopped in here and said, "I love you, peaceful Patrick. Let's be at peace. I forgive you. You can never do anything that I won't love and forgive you for." Whatever you're doing. And the only way that we can ever have peace is to get out of the past. Get out of the way we think it ought to be. And stop asking you to behave the way I think you should behave so that we can have peace. If you want to be peace, oh, look at me getting all Martin Luther here. If you want to have peace, show us how it's done. Let's show them how it's done. That means that when we walk, does that mean we're walking around looking at, "Hello, how are you today? Have you been over to CSL Kaua'i?" No, it means get real with it and say, "I love you. I love me." And if I love myself that much, book coming out in January, by the way, another book. But if I love myself, there is not a way in this world I could hurt you. Because I would be coming from what? Love. It's like a cup of Java, isn't it? It's just, whew. So when we close here, I would like you to close your eyes if you choose. If you don't want to, I'll be looking at you. And laughter, my friends, is medicine. So let's close our eyes for just a moment. And let's tap in to what we know is the deepest centering silence that we can come up with, even with everything going on around us. with eyes still closed, I want you to ask yourself this question. What did you hear? And what are you going to do and be with what you heard? In this silence, I call up peace. Today, I had the most strangest awakening that there was no more war, no more self-hate, no more disrespect of self. And now this dream is a reality. Open your eyes. Welcome, welcome to our new world. It's brand new. Namaste.